much of a better intro I can do than that. I mean, that was pretty spot on. We can help you with anything, so we're good. Marketing related, and digital specifically. But yeah, we're basically going to walk through exactly how we build our listing ads. Right now, since March, we've been averaging about $1 to $3 a lead off listings. I mean, you're going to have the odd listing that's more than that. Some will be under. Pre-March, we are more $1 to $5 a lead off listings. So sometimes it could be the area you're in or the type of listing. Condos are usually a little bit more expensive. And then it's also dependent on how you're advertising it. Because, for example, everyone talks about how great video is, and I love video, but it actually makes leads more expensive. So we, for example, might average $1 to $4 or $1 to $5 a lead with an image, but $4 to $8 with a video.
You can hear me, right? I'm doing my little trick. Yeah. Okay. So true about the video. And here's one of my theories. If you're watching a YouTube ad, which is super, super cheap to run YouTube video-based ads, the people really have nowhere to click. I've seen so many of the YouTubers, they're like, click the link right here. And then when you're watching, the link isn't there at all. It's like they're always moving it. It's a little tiny thing. Sometimes it's like a half-transparent little image. Oh my God, it's so bad. So video marketing is really more powerful when it's a landing page and the people are already there and you're educating them on what the next step is. Or if you're doing friends, family, referral-based marketing, that's where video really shines. If it's cold marketing, image totally all the way.
Yeah, I agree. And that's if your goal is I want more leads, single images outperform. I mean, we'll get into that a bit when we're actually building a fake listing ad, basically. But we're basically going to walk you through the exact template that I get my team to do. If you follow it, it works. You get pretty consistent leads. I mean, that doesn't mean you're going to convert them because that's a whole different ballgame. But we'll show you at least how to do that first part that once you see it, it's pretty easy. If I hire someone new and generally speaking, they have zero real estate experience, never placed a Facebook ad, but just know kind of how to use social. So it just means they're somewhat tech savvy. Normally by the second day working for me, they can get the $1 to $3 leads by following the template. So that's what I get my staff to do. I mean, now Maureen on my team has probably done more listing ads than me. So at some point I'm going to get her to start doing these trainings, but it does work really, really well, and it's not that hard to follow, and you just basically have to see the different options there. And like Dan was saying, now with the special ad category stuff, the options for targeting are a lot lower, but unless you're in Toronto, Vancouver, downtown, it's actually not that big of a deal. We haven't found it affected ad costs that much. And kind of the secret trick we used to do with Facebook ads is we try to do very little targeting anyways, because the more targeting you do, the more you're restricting Facebook's ability to optimize based on all the data they have on people. So we actually try to do a very minimal targeting, but we'll jump in and show you guys what to do. Just gotta make sure I share the right. I have 3 monitors that are double wide, so I just gotta make sure I share the right screen.
Okay.
All right, one sec. I think I got it. Yeah, got the right one. Sweet. That would have been weird. All right. So this is your ads manager. If you don't know how to get into ads manager, facebook.com/ads manager. Basically, don't boost your posts. Come in here to do it. If your goal is leads, if you just want engagement, I mean, you can boost. Generally, what we say is just don't ever boost your posts. The only advantage of boosting is it's quicker to get it up. So it's better to come in through here and do it. So when you want to create an ad, literally just click on the green create button. And for the one where you're getting really cheap leads, it's picking lead generation. If you're not familiar with lead gen ads, basically what that means is instead of registering them on your website or a landing page that you might have created, it pops up a form on Facebook that's pre-filled in with their contact information. So their name, email, phone number that they give to Facebook gets put on there automatically. There's pros and cons to this. By default, the kind of con and pro actually at the same time is it's kind of like Apple's terms and conditions. It pops up and a lot of people hit submit without looking at it. So every now and then you'll start calling people and be like, who are you? I didn't opt into anything. What is this about? Some people are really good at handling that objection. Others aren't. So there are some steps you can take to increase the quality. But one note, and I'm sure Dan well, at least pretend to agree with this at the very least. To get like a higher quality lead, you make it harder for them to become a lead. But no matter what we do on like the ad side, like if you're converting, say at like 2%, we might be able to get you to like 2.5, 3, maybe 3.5, 4 with like some tweaks to the ad. But any big jumps in lead conversion is going to come in the follow-up side. There's only so much you can do on the ad side to really take that up to a next level, unless you're getting into like some pretty heavy-duty retargeting and like a really complex sort of funnel and follow-up that's automated.
The jump is definitely in the follow-up. I'd rather more leads than not. So like, say you had a house value form on your website and you asked address, square footage, like all these random questions. Get rid of all that. All you really need is the address, the name, the phone number, and the email. The more you ask, the less you get. So I'd way rather sift through a bigger pile because it just gives me a greater chance.
Yeah, the oversimplification of online lead gen is the more you put in their way of becoming a lead, the higher quality lead it is, technically, but it's not usually a high enough quality in most circumstances to justify the drop in the number of leads.
Right.
So like I'm similar to Dan, I would rather just get as many as possible. And even if that means implementing some systems that kind of help me sort through it instead of me having to call every single one every time, I would do that. But often I just find it better to get as many leads in as you can. So if we're coming through here, lead gen, let me just hit continue here. So we're just going to pretend this is for the most popular house in the world. 123 Main Street. All right. So here we do have to, kind of. So basically what's happening right now is they're rolling out special ad categories to Canada right now. So by December, everyone in Canada will have to select housing if it's a listing ad. If it's like a what's my home worth, you don't need to use it. But if you're advertising homes for sale, you do need to select this. Basically, it's just so people have context because I always get that. This is so dumb, I don't understand why they do this. Basically, what kicked it all off was a couple of years ago, a landlord in Oakland was advertising his rental building and excluded anyone who was black from seeing the ad. Like that was how he set it up. He says one of the targeting options is ethnic affinity African American, and he set that as his exclusion for the ad. Got caught excluding black people from seeing his ad. Obviously did not go over well, and then they implemented, if you guys remember a couple of years ago, every time you hit an ad, it's like this ad may be discriminatory, you have to certify your compliance. That was certifying you're complying with basically human rights laws. But what they didn't do was any sort of check. So people would certify they were complying and then go back to doing it. Then someone in Minnesota got caught doing the same thing. And then Facebook got fined, I think it was almost $1 billion for housing discrimination. And so they now made it mandatory that there's like no way around it. I mean, there is actually a way around it still, but it's a little bit more complicated. But basically, they made it really hard to actively discriminate on this. And now they just announced in August that they're rolling this out to Canada. And by December 2020, everyone in Canada will have to go by this. So if you have an account that doesn't force you to do it, you don't have to yet. But the only way to know is to launch the ad without it and see if they disapprove it or not. Once you start getting disapproved, they would have it. So it might just be easier to select it and go forward with that. But you only need it for your listings. You don't have to do it for like seller-focused ads and things like that.
So like general call to action, find your dream home type of stuff?
Well, if you're doing, like the gray area is like if you're advertising a list of homes for sale, because still you're technically advertising listings instead of just a single one. So we found that generally when we're trying to like appeal and get it in, that type of one doesn't seem to go over as well. But I would say like anytime you're advertising homes for sale or a list of homes, you're probably gonna have to select it. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. We haven't found a huge impact on cost per lead for what we're doing for the most part. Like there's definitely some, but it's not huge. So don't worry too much about it. Campaign budget optimization we won't worry about today because we only have so much time. And that's not as important for a listing. So if you've never run one, you will have to accept their lead ad terms, which basically just means you have to have a privacy policy on your website. You're not going to sell those leads to anyone else. Budgeting for listings. We normally do a lifetime budget. And like what most clients we do is we do $50 for like a week. We found that that's enough money to kind of figure out where it is, what kind of the ideal is. So the date today? The 1st. So we said we run this till the 8th. So basically $50 for a week. You can get a pretty good idea if it's going well. If it's going really well, like if you're getting like 60-cent leads, I would double, triple that budget type of thing and really go on it. But if you're at like $5 leads, I would just basically let that run out. But then it's also your area. So if your area is like you're selling really fast, you basically would set it to the offer date and go that route. So there's a little bit of timing on that front. If you're in but no matter what, like the first week of running ads is basically always the best for leads for a listing.
We did, so normally a lot of our clients like will run an ad for a longer period of time, and we had one girl who had, she had a deadline for when she had to like have offers in. So we did an accelerated where we just spent as much money as possible in the 1 week. And yeah, it skyrocketed. So Facebook really rewards you for spending more money quicker.
Yeah, like if you have a bigger budget than 50, go for it. Like there's really no downside to like spending a ton as long as it's in your budget. 50 seems to be one where like I wouldn't go lower, but it's like you'd get a decent number of leads in that week. But yeah, like if you want to jump that to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, like you're still going to get leads. I mean, unless you're in an area with like 4,000 people, there is a limit. But as long as you have a decent sized audience, you just keep pumping them out. So here I'm just going to show you kind of what happens with when you have this housing category on. So like what I often do is when we do a listing ad, we just take the address. I'm just going to use an address from my old office. This is the lowest they'll let you do is a 15-mile radius. So they just won't let me go lower. Even if I drop a pin, I can't do anything. I can't make it smaller than 15. I can't even try to exclude it to try and make it tighter that way.
Ah, you can't do that? You can't cookie cutter?
There is no way to get around the 15-mile radius. So, well, okay, there's one way. So they still allow custom audiences. So you can run it to people who've been on your website or watched a video on Facebook. So what you could do is take a video ad, run that to the town you live in, and set a custom audience of anyone who's watched at least 3 seconds of the video. And you know the only people watching that video live in that town. And when you run listing ads, you run it to the audience of people who have watched that originally. So like you have to have a consistent flow of budget going to that video in your area, and it has to be a video where the first couple seconds will at least get people to stay and watch those 3 seconds. Basically just means it has to be really engaging and compelling somehow. And there's a few like different routes, which different day we can talk about a little bit more in depth. But that's really the only way around it. So for a little bit with these, they used to let you do lookalike audiences, which was a huge loophole. But it looks like they're shutting that down for special custom audio, for special audiences as well. So the only way kind of around it right now is set up a custom audience first that's targeted from an ad that only people from a certain area would do it, and then go from there. But for the most part, 15 miles. I mean, the big thing here, like if we take Aurora, there's 40,000 people there. Adding 15 miles of radius, we've now jumped that to a potential audience of 1 million. The other downside, we cannot change the age from 18 and up.
I know, that's the kicker, man. Well, that was my favorite setting, was I don't want to target 18-year-olds. I want to target 30, 35 and above.
So pre this rule, 95% of our listing ads were age, location, and excluding agents. Basically can't do any of those anymore. So you can't do any exclusions at all. Like they won't even let you try to do an exclusion. That's just off the table. And even your interests are severely limited. Like there's no behavior. It's just straight kind of, you can see here, like general interests. And the problem with a lot of these general interests is they're not good. Like bathroom, like how do they really know if you're interested in a bathroom? Which basically means you read an article or engaged with something at some point that had the word bathroom in it. But do you know how many places have the word bathroom that have nothing to do with bathrooms?
But like, have you ever used a bidet? It's like life-changing.
I have actually.
Just kidding. Okay.
Not where I thought this was going. But like you can see here, like there's a lot of different things, and most of them honestly aren't that important. We don't generally use any of these interests, to be honest. We just leave them. There are some real estate specific ones you can try. if you want to try and get that audience size down, but even then you can even see that doesn't always show. There's options. So yeah, you can come in here and be like, all right, I could pick like home improvement, something like that, home business. Like there's a few little options, but there's no great ones. So to be honest, most of the time now, we just leave it like this, and we more play with the placements. So the first thing we'll do, and because it's a lead ad, we actually take off, almost all ads now, especially if they're video based, will take off the audience network. But a lead gen, you can't do an audience network anyways. But like for a lead gen ad, we found that stories actually don't work great. So we often will take that out. Same with the in-stream videos, video ones. And then I don't actually like search results either, or the in-article ones because you don't get to show as much.
Basically just the news feed of both Facebook and Instagram you leave.
So here, that's like Instagram Explorer we leave on there, but you normally don't get a lot of results from that anyways. Sometimes we'll actually come in, we'll just take off Instagram too, because you get very few results from there as well.
Right.
But yeah, we often will just come and say, like, you'd be surprised at how many times we just do Facebook newsfeed. It is, generally speaking, the highest quality one you'll get. I'm just going to leave it on all of it for now. But yeah, like, because you can't do much targeting, you can play around here. The nice thing about Facebook here is because they have so much data on people already, they know who's likely to opt into a real estate ad. So like, even though they might show it to the odd 18-year-old, generally speaking, they're not going to, because they want you to get leads and get success. So it's still basically going to be running it to the right people. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Where you can play with it a little bit if you want is connection. So you used to never use these. And this only matters if you have a lot of people to your page, but you could do like friends of people who like your page would be the ones who see the ad. Like if you have 100 people who like your page, I wouldn't use this. But if you have, a few thousand people on there, you could probably do, and they're local. Problem with that is like a lot of big teams we find, like half their likes are actually just agents from across the country who are trying to follow what a big team is doing on social. So a lot of like, the bigger you are, the less relevant your likes even become sometimes. But this would be the only time, but this really is situation dependent. Like if I put that on now, it can sometimes drop this potential reach to like I'll have to add a page here. So if I took just sell homes as an example, like we come down to 60,000 people as a potential reach here. Now, I might have more because I have a lot of agents, and agents add a lot of people. So it could be a little bit different there. But it really does drop down how many people you can reach there. Now, if you had $50 as your budget, 60,000 reach isn't bad. So that's one scenario that it could work out well. The other nice thing about this is when the ad runs, it'll actually show the friend that likes the page their name above the ad saying they like it. So like if I ran this now and Danny likes Just Sell Homes, it would show like Danny Wood likes Just Sell Homes and then the ad for me. So I'd basically be getting Danny's endorsement on my ad. Very light endorsement, obviously, but it definitely works. This is why you don't like another agent's pages. When I used to sell, a few of the top producers in the area liked my page to follow what I was doing. So I just started running ads to people who liked my page so that I could get the endorsement of the top producers to everyone in town. It worked pretty well, but it's one of those things, don't like another agent's page or they can take advantage of it. And we'll keep going here. Go next. So actually build an ad. This is the fun part for me. And if you guys have questions, are you looking at the chat?
I'll go back to it. And you should just deselect Instagram so that you don't have to pick an account. Okay, let me do the chat.
I can just grab the Just Homes one, it's okay. All right. Remember, if you guys have questions, let us know. I can jump in. So like, I can go back and talk about targeting for non-listing ads after this. But I want to show you how to build a listing ad. Then we'll go back into like how we target other ads, because I think that's still good to know. But so for a listing, like I was saying, an image and a single image works best. Some people use carousels. We find that carousels don't get anywhere near the same results as like a single image. So we'll almost always specifically go to a single image, and we normally will test 2 to 3. So if the budget's 50, 2 or 3 is your max for variations. But what we'll do is we'll do a shot of the outside, a shot of the back of the backyard, assuming it's a nice backyard or there is one. And then we do like the nicest shot of the interior. If it's a condo, we don't ever use a shot of the condo itself. We always use the interior of the condo, usually like the kitchen, or if there's like a really nice patio or a really nice view, something like that. But condo's that exception where we don't show that. If it's like a recreational property, then we like show the lake or something like that, because that's really more the selling point a lot of the time. So I'll just come over here, and I'm going to use a stock image of a house.
While you pull that up, a couple questions. Robert says you can no longer filter a realtor's question.
Not for listing ads, no.
Yeah, if it's a listing ad. And then Cody says that they did a boost, and it was a lot easier. They were able to drop a pin, do a 1 mile radius. They were able to change the age, demographics, and all that. And that's because their account hasn't been affected yet. But eventually, Cody, you are not going to be able to do that. So it is easier for you at the time being. Awesome. So keep rolling with it. But the light at the end of the tunnel is going to end out on that one.
So like I was mentioned at the beginning, by December, everyone will have to do special category for a listing ad. If it's not, then you can get away with it now. Like we have some accounts that still can get away with it. But I'd say about half of our ad accounts that we run now, so probably 30, 40 ad accounts right now actively have it already, on the ones that we're kind of actively working with right now. So yeah, there's a lot that's coming up pretty quick. So you'll start getting disapprovals a lot. The more disapprovals in your account, the more it hurts your ranking. So I mean, it's not a bad idea just to start doing it. But that's part of the fun of running ads. It's constant change. Here we just come in and we make this part pretty straightforward. So the first thing we do, I always like to put here in square brackets, home for sale. Depending on your brand, sometimes you can just switch it and do an emoji. We'll just drop a house in there and just do like home for sale. But the reason we do this is we find that if we run a listing ad without specifically saying for sale, what happens is you get a lot of people asking you if it's for lease. And it's just a nice, easy way to filter that out. So basically, like a lot of what we do with our text is use the text now for targeting. So we're basically trying to appeal to the ideal people we want to come in, and leveraging this way. What we'll often do here now is just put in the address. So the overall thing when we're kind of getting into advertising properties is treat it like a movie trailer. You're giving them enough information that they're interested in it, but if they want to come and see the rest of it, learn more about it, I mean, their ticket is their name, email, and phone number. So you're just giving them enough for that excitement. You don't have to describe everything about the home. You don't have to show everything, but you're just showing enough. You'll either do the address here. This can be a personal choice. You can get a slightly lower cost per lead sometimes without the address, but it's not a huge impact. We could also do like 4-bedroom home in neighborhood. Because we're going wider now with the special category, we normally will take out, instead of doing a neighborhood, we'll say like 4-bedroom home in Aurora. Because now this ad's going so far outside of this town, you do want to specify that. So like even here where I would normally just put the address and then run it in the area, now I'll do like 123 Main Street, Aurora. I get asked a lot, why am I using square brackets? And the official answer is they work better and I have no idea why. But I've tested this without brackets, with round brackets, with just a dash between, with nothing between. I've tried a ton of different variations, and for some reason, square brackets always outperforms everything else, so we do square brackets. If you want to try without, go for it, but I've run a lot of tests on this, and for some reason, they work really well, and I wish I knew why.
There's a book called 108, I think that's the number, something like that, 108 split test ideas or something. Russell Brunson, and they what they'll do is they'll run the same ad to 2 different landing pages, and they're the exact same landing page, but like with a different font or a different color, or like just one slight variation, and they split test things like this, like square brackets versus round brackets, and they analyze which one produces better results. And it's so funny how these micro little things change and affect. So Definitely take a picture of this once Andrew's done building his ad, and then use it as a formula for going forward.
I'll actually give you guys the link where you can just go download it.
Yeah.
I have the template. You can just take it and download it. It will automatically add you to my mailing list. If you don't want to be on there, just unsubscribe when the first one comes through, and you won't have to worry about it. That doesn't offend me if you unsubscribe. I unsubscribe from a lot of things I like because I'm just keeping my inbox clear. I only want you to stay on it if you actually want to get emails. I don't send them that often if it helps. But you can unsubscribe anytime, and you will not offend me if I see your name come through saying you unsubscribed. And I'll be honest, I barely even check names. So if you unsubscribe, I probably won't even know. So under here, primary text, now what we do here, especially since we now can't target as well on the targeting side, we use this part. So we'll do things like, looking, I was typing into the chat there. I was about to send you guys all a nice message. All right. Looking for a detached home in Aurora. You can either do it simple like that. Sometimes we'll do like looking for a detached home in Aurora under, 800,000. I mean, that probably means I priced it at $799, but it still works. Like adding that piece in. Normally, what we find when we put in the price, it increases negative comments, just because people get upset. And especially because there's less targeting you can do now. There's more of those people who kind of come in. So that's one of the reasons we actually do like to keep out price. The other is you just get more leads when there's no price in it, because people now are curious about it. But then half your leads, they're, I just wanted to know the price. If you're good at handling that objection, it's not really a big problem. Sometimes here, we'll also maybe add in a big selling feature. So like maybe it's a completely renovated attached home. But we try not to go too in-depth here in this first part. It's just like what's essentially the top selling feature, and if that's the fact that it's a detached home or it's a specific neighborhood or it's in a good school area, but you're just going to do that specific type of thing. So looking for detached 4-bedroom home in Aurora. Question mark. Then we do a full line break. I find that too many people go like just a big block of text, and that doesn't work. Like you want to have line breaks, so you want it to be all skimmable. So we normally will not let a paragraph be like more than 3 sentences, and we normally even try to keep it around 2. So you find if you go past that, it makes it blocky and people don't read it as much. So in the second section, we basically look at like what are the top 2, 3, or 4 selling points that are now part of this home. You don't have to get into every single piece of thing. Like you don't have to get into like what's included in the sale, what's excluded. Like none of that stuff matters at this point. What matters right now is all we're doing is trying to sell them on giving us their contact information. We're not trying to sell them the house right now. All we're trying to get is to sell them on the idea that they should be reaching out to us. So here we'll do like, this home, and you can add more personality, which I highly recommend. I'm just going to show you the idea. This home has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, renovated kitchen. I really could help if I could spell. Renovated kitchen with double islands and a kick-ass patio in the backyard. You probably won't be able to get kick-ass through on the piece through Facebook's checker, so I'm going to actually take that out right now. But you can add personality. This is what I want to say. Like, put personality in it. Don't be afraid to do it. Add in emojis if you want. We generally find like 1 to 4 emojis is that right range in terms of like not hurting the ad. If you put too many, it can hurt it. But it's also more like your brand. Like we had a client that we actually sold their listing using the poop emoji. But if the poop emoji doesn't fit your brand, then I wouldn't use it. The only other tip I always have to give, and you've probably heard me say this before, only use emojis if you know what they mean. Like, not every emoji, like an eggplant is not an eggplant. That's not what it actually is when anyone ever uses it. So stay clear of that. You're pretty much okay. You might want to stay clear of like the peach and the taco, but other than that, you're good to go. But yeah. Quick thing here, looking for 4-bedroom home, quick selling features on it, 1 or 2 sentences on this piece. Then we go into maybe just a quick thing either on like the neighborhood itself, or we just say like, hey, we have an open house coming up. But something very quick, whether it's about like the sale itself or the community. If it's a really well-known community or like a really well-known street, you don't have to sell that as much. If it's like a newer area, maybe you will need to settle. So it's like walking distance to top-rated schools and 3 grocery stores or something. But again, keep it pretty straightforward. If there's like a nuance, like in where I live right now, we just opened a Farm Boy. I would actually just go right in there and be like, near the newly opened Farm Boy grocery store, which is awesome, by the way. If anyone has a Farm Boy near them, I'm a big fan.
There's a private question about what do you think works better, listing ads based on the actual listing or a listing ad based on this type of listing? So like get a list of bungalows for sale, get a list of townhomes for sale.
Listings by far. Like for lead volume, a list of homes, list of types of home, list of homes in a price range is like number 2 in terms of if you want volume of leads, that's number 2 option. So like we always use listings first because it's consistently the best cost per lead. Then we go to list of homes. Then we get into other stuff.
Good question.
So if you don't have listings, go with list of homes. Model it roughly the same way. The 2 styles we do with list of homes is either we do it by price, so we'll say like homes under X price. The only downside of that is like you're like detached homes under 500. You will get some people opting in and being like, okay, but I only have 200,000 to spend. Well, realistically, you can only find a home between like 450 and 5. So again, just pricing depends on your area, but that's one of the downsides of going by price. You could do like homes between 400 and 500 or 400 and 600. The other option is by type of homes. So get a list of bungalows, get a list of homes with acreage, homes with big yards, condos with a view, condos with a patio. But basically, like, what's the most desirable thing? Right now, those list of homes that are a specific type are the most effective seller lead magnets too. Because you pick a type of home that people would likely have to sell their current home to buy it. Because like seller-based ads right now are super expensive. Since the market's gone a little nuts, I'm sure you guys have all experienced it. Everyone seems to be pretty busy these days, bidding wars everywhere. Cost per seller lead has started going up really high. But these ads targeting the type of homes they'd move to has still stayed in that normal range. And just in your follow-up, then you try to get their listing out of it.
Like a detached bungalow. Or in the States, they call them like a ranch style, but yeah.
Any type of home, whether it's a move-up buyer, move-down buyer, something like that, that they have to sell their current home, it works. So basically, you're just avoiding like townhomes, but even townhomes in the city can work. 'Cause people would probably sell their condo to get the townhome. But that's like you have to know your specific area and what that desirable one is. So like I'll give you a great example. We have a client in Sudbury that we got a ton of leads for like sub $1 for homes with acreage. But that's because in Sudbury, everyone kept saying, like, I want a home with acreage. But that same type of home for a client in Durham, they refer to it more in Durham as like rural properties instead of a home with acreage. So you want to use the language that people are using in your specific area. So like, just think about like when people are talking to you, what are they saying? What are they more, like, what do you hear more? What terms do you hear more? That's why we say home for sale instead of listing for sale. Because the general public, more often than not, says home for sale instead of listing, and you want to use the language that they're using. And then the last thing we always add to every ad, because it always increases the amount of people opt in from anywhere from like 15 to 40% sometimes, is click learn more below to get more information about this. Can you use school districts to advertise? Yes. We've tested it a little bit. It as one of like the features, it can work. But it also depends on like the area. Like, is it a highly sought after school? Then yeah, it can be, because that can be a selling feature. But if it's just like close to random schools, it's not a huge thing that seems to impact it. But yeah, if you're in like, there's one specific neighborhood that everyone wants. Nice dog, Danny. But yeah, like anytime you have something specific that's a selling feature, the more specifics you can put in your ad, like even this one I wrote where it's like walking us to the top rated schools, if you can put a name of the schools, or even like the grocery stores, the actual names of them being like it's close to Farm Boy, Longo's, and Superstore, great, put that in there. Be more specific, it helps people a lot more. You can just add parks in, different things like that. How to target the impaired. I mean, right now with listings, you can't. The only way you could do it right now is if you ran a different ad first to impaired people and then targeted that group as a custom audience for those who engage with the first post. But after I build this, I'll show you how we select trying to find a specific audience with our targeting. But this is literally as simple as our ads. Some clients, we will add in things like emojis throughout it, but again, it's client to client. It's also a little bit about your branding. Does emoji fit your brand? I personally don't use a ton of emoji, but a couple people on my team use them a lot more. So sometimes you can see who on our team is writing based on the emoji usage that's in different ads. And it's client to client. So again, if they fit your brand, go with it. Don't be afraid to like have some fun with it. I think the biggest thing missing from everyone's online presence is more personality. I mean, people try really hard to like overly professional, and they write a lot of their ads and their social posts like they're writing an essay in university or something like that. But you don't have to write like that. Like, you want to think like, if I was sitting across from you right now, how would I write this? How would I say this? If we were just sitting together, whether it's having a beer or just not drinking or whatever it is, but we're just sitting across from you and having a conversation, how would you word this if we were sitting across from each other? And you put that right here. We don't generally play much with the description or the display link. The only thing we do here is we move this to learn more, because that normally gets more. You normally seem to get higher amount of clicks when you click on learn more. And that brings you into, it creates the form. So once you click on this ad, it pops up that lead gen form that I talked to you about. That pops up. One thing to note, once you hit publish on a lead gen form, you can't edit it anymore. So if you do realize you made a mistake, you'll have to basically duplicate it, then edit the duplicate, then assign the new one to the ad. So you either make sure, like, double check it, or be aware that you might have a bunch of duplicate forms if you didn't do it wrong. So here we can do like, just no one will see this form name but you, by the way. Just listed 123 Main Street. The reason I put just listed there instead of just the address is we might have a coming soon and a just sold version. And it's just so that when we're having leads come in and it's telling us which form it's coming off, I know right away at a quick glance. More volume is generally what we do. If you click higher intent, all that does is before they hit submit, it forces them to swipe their thumb across the screen, confirming that they're submitting their information to you. So it's just an extra step to confirm you're getting their info. That, for the most part, not completely, gets rid of the people who are like, oh, I didn't realize I was opting into something, I didn't mean to. But again, we found like the drop in leads usually doesn't offset the drop in volume or like quality. So like you gotta look at it from that perspective. 99% of the time we're sticking with more volume. Over here in settings, switch it to open. All this restricted does, it doesn't allow anyone to share your ad, but obviously you want people to be able to share your ad and submit their form if they're not on there. So we open that up. I mean, it makes tracking a little bit more of a pain because Facebook will track specifically like people who came from the paid ad. But if someone shares it, now it's an organic post. It kind of screws up the tracking, which is why they keep it restricted. But personally, I'd just rather get any extra potential leads if someone shared it anyways. So I just should keep it open and let people opt in. The intro here, so basically the idea here is they click on it before they get to submit their information. You can have a little piece. I find more often than not, when people have this, it actually talks people out of it. If you already clicked on it, for the most part, you're interested. So we actually just take this out completely. We just don't do an intro, and we just go straight to get their contact information. So then here we'd come in and add in their phone number. So you want to get that. And then in the description.
I like the simplicity of skipping that part, by the way.
Oh, it's way better too. And here for the simplicity of what do I write for the description, where can we send info about this property to? Because now it's like you have to put in your information to get it. And again, just that really simple, all the goal of this page is to sell them on hitting next. You can add custom questions if you want, but like I was mentioning before, every time you add a question, you're going to get less leads. It's straightforward. Every single question that gets added here means, well, not like a higher cost per lead that you're doing. So what some people will do here is add things in like, when are you looking to move into your next home? And they'll put like 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 plus, just browsing. Adding some custom questions in like that can increase your quality, but again, for the most part, the majority of clients we find that the drop in quantity doesn't offset the increase in quality. So for most of you, I'd say test it if you want, but again, for the most part, I would keep it pretty open here. And then you do need a privacy policy. If you don't have one, you have to get one. What we do sometimes is like an interim fix is we basically borrow the listing brokerage's privacy policy that they have on their site until you get one. But yeah, this is how we do it. And if you don't have it on your website, I believe Shopify has a privacy policy generator on their website. You have to sign up for a free account. You don't have to do anything with it. Just sign up, answer a couple of questions, and they'll give you a privacy policy you can insert on your website. Most website providers that are like your general real estate websites, they have a privacy policy. You just have to ask them to put it on your website. If they make you provide one, just Google Shopify privacy policy generator, answer the questions, and you will get that, and you'll be able to just turn that into a page on your site. But Facebook will not let you run ads without one. We have seen people have just like put in a random link here that wasn't actually privacy policy and it gets through, but if you get caught, you'll be shut down from ads. So like normally this is the URL you'd have, and we just make it say view here. Again, short and sweet, nice and easy, nothing fancy to do, you just keep that simple. And then this page, again, there's two routes we go here. Option one, we would actually link this to the link to it on your website. So now they could click on this and now they can actually go look at the rest of the listing, look at the rest of the photos, or you send them to like the URL for the data sheet. The only time I don't always recommend sending them to your website is if on your website you have forced registration, because we just force registered them on Facebook. If we now send them to your website and they have to force register again, you're just annoying them because you're making them register twice. So if you don't have forced registration, do this. We can just send them here and be like, view 1, 2, 3.
While you're typing that out, a lot of agents, they have like an IDX search that has all of the listings, but they usually have a section of like their listings or featured listings or something like that. And I suggest always using that page because say you have a listing and you do a price correction and you take it off the market and put it on the market again at the new price, you now have a new MLS number. So if you send people directly to the listing itself, the link will be dead. But if you send them to your featured page, I mean, most agents are carrying what, like 0 to 6 listings. Some are like 15 and under, like not too many, right?
Yeah, so the other option, so like what some clients have is like they don't have it up on their website yet, so they're going to email them details about it. What the biggest mistake people do though is now they just say like, thanks, we'll be in touch. But we know something about these people. So for instance, if this is a detached home that's 4 bedrooms, odds are the person has to sell their home to buy it. So we might say, need to sell your current home first. Click below to, and here we would change this to get a free home evaluation or home value report. Click below to find out what your home would sell for so you know what you can buy your next home for. Like putting another offer here. You really have to just think about the flow for you specifically. If you're sending them to your website, this page needs to send them to the listing page on your website. If you're going to email them info about the property, then put on a different upsell here. So you're either going to use this space to sell them on now going to your website and checking out that property, or you're going to use it to basically try and get seller leads out of it. I'd say depending on your systems, if you're really good at like either setting it up automatically or being responsive of sending them listing details, I like putting the second upsell on this page.
I love that.
You would be really slow at doing this, then just send them to the listing page on your website. But then if you can, and this really depends on your website provider, if anyone opts in on your website, like asking a question, then redirect them to another offer. We always basically like giving as many offers as we can that provide value. So something like this can work really well. And then you just send them to like the link on your website. So if you're doing the home value, homes.com, home worth. And I would send to that. If it's the listing, you'd send to the listing URL. Pretty straightforward. Again, once you hit publish on this, though, you can't change it again. It's just, it's done. So you'd have to create a new one if you screw anything up. So I just come back in and make sure you're happy with how everything looks. I'm just going to click it as a draft because I don't need to save this for just sell homes. I'm just going to keep that as a draft.
I like that double dip at the end. We're all about the upsell. I shouldn't say upsell, but like, it's just a good idea. If you've already got a house value landing page, they just registered, why not use that as a second call to action? Because maybe they're in the moment. They're like, oh yeah, I do want to know what my house values are.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's the start of your relationship with this person now. You might as well show them as much value as possible. Like the other thing that we do here, so I do that one, which we just call a double dip offer, and I just call it that because I like Seinfeld. The other option is what a guy named Nicholas Kuzmich calls a Godfather offer, which he calls because he likes the Godfather. We're very clever in the marketing community.
Yeah.
So basically what a Godfather offer is on that page is for someone, and this is more for like if someone opted in for like a what's my home worth, now direct them to, if they're thinking of selling in the next like 30, 60, 90 days, what's an offer that you could put in front of them that they couldn't refuse to book a call with you about selling their home? So what we'll do sometimes will be like, great, we'll create this custom home value report and get that off to you. In the meantime, if you are thinking of selling your home and book a call with us in the next 72 hours, here's what we'll offer you to book that call with us. Free staging, HD photos, HD videos, yada yada. Like basically you list out everything you offer sellers, maybe like click below to book a call with someone on our team. That sometimes, like if you're not offering a lot, like we had one client who all he offered was HD photos. He had 2% of his leads opt into that call. We've had as high as 18% depending on the offer. 95% of our clients, they're just offering what they already offer every client. They don't add anything extra. We have had clients add extra things in there. Like we've had one who offered cashback. I mean, I'm not personally a big fan of cashback, but that's really, I mean, it's your business. You decide what you're willing to offer. You might want to check with your broker first, but that's something for you to do. Just think of these like on these pages when you're getting things, what could you offer someone that would be so enticing that they'd at least want to have that conversation with you?
I like the time exclusivity of like, you have to, if you do it now, this is what you're going to get. And it's like a checklist of all the things that you're already doing for your sellers anyways. And on that page, when the person clicks to get to it, that's where a good use of video would be, of you up at the top and you just rhyming through the different checks. And you're like, if you're thinking of
get really fancy,
yeah,
do a Facebook drip campaign. So like day one after the offer, you're like, great, you opted in. Now here's that offer again, day two. You only have 2 days left to take us up on this offer, and then on the final day, this is the final day to take this offer. And then day 4, they just stop seeing those ads.
Yeah.
But
hey, we
like,
should do that. Let's do that on a future call. We'll do the Godfather offer with a Facebook targeted drip plan on how to set up that so that once they've seen the ad or registered, then they get removed. Like we can totally do that.
Yeah, it's once you understand how it works, it's easier to set up than a lot of people. Like it sounds a lot more confusing than it is. So you just have to see it once, and then it's pretty easy. But that's basically how we set up a listing ad. We hit publish. I will just say, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm always happy to answer them. But this, if you follow this, you'll get basically $1 to $5 a lead generally off your listings. Once in a while, a listing will not perform. Like every now and then, we still run ads that get $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a lead. Those are the exceptions. It happens sometimes, but most of the time, you're going to end up in that $1 to $5 lead range. If you go to perfectlistingad.com, I think it is. Let me just double check before I confirm that with you. Here, let's go and just confirm it.
I'm actually making a note. We're totally doing that Godfather.
Oh, it's great.
Drip plan.
Yeah, go to perfectlistingad.com. You can just download my template. This is literally the exact template that I make my team use when we're running these, and you can get it. So on $50 ad spend, you can expect 10 to 100 leads. Yes, I mean, 100, it's not that often you're getting. I think our record off one, I believe, is 127 on a $50 ad spend. But that's like our record. Most of them, you're probably going to be in that like 15 to 40 range. But yeah, like if you get one, this is what I'll say, like if you get one that's on pace for like 100 leads for $50, double and triple that budget. Like when you hit gold, like you mine that until it's exhausted. You just keep that going, get all the leads you can, and run from there. So yeah, perfect. Listingad.com. You can just download it. Again, like I said, it does add you to our mailing list. But if you just hit unsubscribe if you don't want, we send bi-weekly emails that just have interesting, or we think is interesting info out there about different things going on. What about tips on what to say? On what to say for the ad or what to say once they opt in? So I mean, I have to see exactly how you're doing it. Normally on the reply side, try to keep it simple. Like most people go like too quick to ask for a phone call or provide too much information. Like a lot of the times we'll just say, hi, thanks for, looking at 123 Main Street. Are you interested as it for yourself or as an investment? Question mark, end of email. I mean, obviously you have your email signature after that, but keep it really short and sweet and expecting a reply. And like, I'd rather go like a 5, 6, 7 email or text chain than like try to get everything into one email. Like 1 or 2 sentences ends it with a single question. Never ask more than one question in an email. And that's you go back and forth a couple of times. You can just respond with like, hey, do you, like we keep going back and forth on this. It'd be quicker if you want to jump on a 5-minute phone call, let me know. I use similar variations. So Christine, if you want to like send me some of the samples, I can offer you some like suggestions. I mean, normally that works. Generally what we do is we phone them as quick as we can. If they don't pick up, we text them, then we email them, and then we just don't stop. On the automation side, we found if you automate those replies through something like Follow Up Boss, it can be like a 20 to 25% response rate. If that's assuming there's no phone calls in there. Yeah, shoot me a message about that, and I'm happy to take a look at kind of how you reply. Also, for those of you who know, take a look up Phil Jones. He's a great sales trainer who literally wrote the book called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. And he talks about like how to respond to leads. And he's one of the best performers out there. Yeah.
Phil Jones, I'm going to reach out to that guy. Hey, can you copy this link and put it in the chat so it's easier for people to click and get to you?
So it's actually, this just redirects to this link, but the top level is just perfectlistingad.com. But you can also use that link there. That's just the lead pages link in the back end. Yeah. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Again, like you can see what we talked about before, I just asked name and email. I don't need your phone number at this point. Because if I put that in there, I guarantee you my conversion rate, like the conversion rate on this page is like 80%. If I added phone number, it'd probably be like 15. So like that's like how big of a difference we would see there. But I'd rather just get email than sell over email. But again, you can unsubscribe if you don't want the emails anymore.
Robert had a question. He's on the phone, but I'll answer for anybody who's listening and wants to know the answer. He says, so on a $50 ad budget, you can expect 10 to 100 leads. And I would say a good rule of thumb would be take whatever your budget is and divide it by 3. Because it's pretty safe to say a Facebook lead on average could be about $3. Obviously, you can get them cheaper for $1 and even less, but you could also get them for a little bit higher. So as a good rule of thumb, if you just kind of wanted to play it a little bit conservative, then divide whatever your budget is by 3, and that will show you how many leads you should expect.
Actually, what you should do is reach out to Phil Jones and book a session with him. I did that with some of our people. We did like a 3-hour workshop where people came in with specific questions, and he basically on the spot helped people rework their follow-up systems.
Sweet. Yeah, I just made a note. I'm totally going to reach out to him. Sweet.
Yeah, great guy.
Okay, Andrew, thank you so much for hanging out, taking us through that simplicity. In fact, you even showed me a couple things. I like the fact of the form where you just removed the whole first step.
Yeah.
Honestly, I always just put something, but nothing is better in that case. Yeah, and easier. Everything about that is better. So very cool. Anybody who is like, man, I just don't want to do any of this. I just want to sell homes. Well, lucky for you, Andrew is the guy that owns that company, so reach out to him. I'll have him type out his name, phone number, and email in the chat so that you can just like reach out to him easier. You can obviously search him up on Facebook and all the other social media platforms. I myself also have my cell number, which is 905-903-5442. If you're on the call and you want to talk about any ideas that sparked interest and you want to do that, send me a text message right now, and then I'll give you a call back. Okay? So, cool. Andrew, you got all your info there?
Yeah, and if you want to book a call, it's right here, bookandrew.ca. Just goes to my Calendly link, and you can just book any into my calendar. You'll see there's different options for type of calls. You just pick the one that applies to you.
Sweet. Okay, I think we had about 80 people on the call. 10 of them have left now, and yeah, that was a good turnout. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, being on time, and being attentive. And if we missed any questions, just send me a text message, and I'll answer them. And then this recording gets put up on this Monday, so this upcoming Monday. So definitely by Tuesday, if you still haven't seen it and you're looking for it and you want to just play this video on one screen and then run your ads on another and do like step by step, just send me a message and I'll hook you up with the link. Okay, I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody and just kind of like chat as people are leaving so everybody can wave goodbye. Oh, Chris, here's the vlog setup.
I was just going to ask you. I took a picture of it.
Right?
It looks pretty sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, so people don't know my camera took a little bit of a bath in a saltwater ocean, which apparently isn't good for electronics. So I had to buy a new camera. And my previous camera was very complicated. It was like 100% manual. It did have automatic, but it was mostly a manual camera. This one still is manual, but it's really cool. You know how when you're on your phone on Instagram and you're just swiping through the filters? It basically has the exact same thing, only you can swipe through and be like, oh, I'm doing a portrait shot, or oh, I'm shooting a picture of an animal, or sports, or landscape, or whatever the environment or situation is that you're doing, you just pick that, and then it sets all of the manual settings automatically for you. So it's still kind of automatic, and you just like go through the filters and pick the one, and it's live in real time, and it does both video and images. It's really cool. It's the Canon EOS RP, and RP stands for reasonably priced. It's for a full frame DSLR camera. It's a really, really, really good value. So I'm super pumped to start making more content for you guys, because my videos where I do the vlog of where I'm on the top half of the screen and then the bottom half is a keynote presentation, I shoot and edit that on my phone, which is really cool, really easy. I love it. However, I do want to start doing a little bit more of a vlogging series where like I'm talking into the camera and you're in my personal space. And in order for me to create better content, I wanted image stabilization. So this has the lens is stable, and then it has digital stabilization in the camera. So that's two stabilizings happen at the same time. So I don't actually need a gimbal. And then it creates that background blur. So if I am walking through a crowd or if I am in any space, it makes me stand out as opposed to everything being in focus, which is what happens with your phone. And yeah, I'm super pumped to create some content with this little bad boy. So yeah, that was that. Oh, Robert, you're off the phone. I answered your question. So you asked about 10 leads to 100 leads for a $50 budget, and use this as a rule of thumb. Take whatever your budget is and divide it by 3, because a common number for Facebook leads is like about $3 a lead. You can get them much cheaper. You can get them for $1 and under $1, but you can also get them for $6 to $8. So a good conservative number would be about 3. So whatever your budget is, divide it by 3, and that will tell you the number of leads you should expect. Cool. That was it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Bye.
Cheers.
See ya. Andrew Foliato, Andrew Hudson has a bro that lives in Aurora, he says, by the way.
Aurora is pretty awesome. I mean, I left Aurora. I don't even live there anymore, but it's great.
Yeah, no, I grew up right at the 401 and the Don Valley Parkway, and my family is almost all over that area now. And I got a brother, and my brother and I both live in outside of Vancouver.
I'm up in Newmarket now. So
oh, are you? That's where I was born.
It's a lot better now than it was 20 years ago.
That?
If anyone's in town, check out Newmarket Main Street. I mean, when you can actually check it out well.
Yeah.
But Newmarket Main Street now is fantastic.
Where are you now?
Newmarket. I'm north end of Newmarket.
Oh, you're in. Okay, you are in Newmarket. Okay, just want to make sure I got the right people for referrals and stuff.
I don't have a license anymore. I let it go. But I can connect you with people if you need someone.
Speaking of connecting, Andrew Hudson, I'm going to ride my bike to you like next week. So I'm going to Whistler this weekend, and next week we'll connect. So send me a message and we'll set the date and time, and I'll come out to you. I'll ride the bike.
I got one listing left now at the moment. Everything else is sold, and so I'm pretty flexible. So awesome.
All right.
Sounds great.
Cool. Sweet, sweet. Okay, it's been great. Thanks so much. Bye, Lewis.
See you guys.
Joanne, thank you.
Thanks
Okay,
a lot,
Andrew.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Have a good day.
See you. Cool. Okay, I love their outro. Andrew, we need a cool outro like the Penny Cook team.
Hold on. I can do something. Oh, wait. I didn't set it up. But I can, like, do fun things like double camera it. And I can be like, oh, now I go, oh, wait, that was the wrong one. Where's this one? Ha!
Ew, that's too much, Andrew. That's
Or not enough.
way too much, Andrew.
Share screens. I can do whole, like, jump into a presentation that I had.
Ah, that's actually that is cool.
And then I could also do what I like about this one, if I really wanted to, like, have some fun. Or just want to randomly have applause for what I'm doing.
Oh man, I need like a foghorn button and a rapper button.
Yeah, it would really help. I custom uploaded this.
Well, how are you playing that? What are you using?
That's
To have- Oh, it's all in the one thing? Hmm.
Yeah, so Ecamm has a ton of stuff. So like the other thing that I like about it, like even if I want to get, I can be like, all right, guys, let's bring this in close. Let's bring this in close. And just like, whoa. And then bring it back out.
That's the other thing. This camera can be used as a webcam. I'm not going to because like complexity, I just rather the plug and play and it works, and this camera is decent enough.
You can also do like Instagram filters.
I like the nicotine. I like the nicotine yellow look.
Yeah, it's perfect. Go full like. But yeah, I gotta now like set it back to the regular one because now I had it where I liked it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Sweet.
but no, it's
Okay.
good.
Andrew, I'm gonna peace out. Thanks
Cool.
for hanging out.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for having me.
I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye, everyone. Roy, see ya. Oh, I got to message you. I saw your message earlier. I'll get you. Yvonne, see ya. Yeah. Sarah, if you're still here, yes, it was recorded, and it will be put up on Monday night. And if you don't see that, just message me and I'll get you it. Cool. Okay, I'm going to hang up. Bye, everyone.